this very nice obligation as a commission to also to travel to Strasbourg every month if there's a plenary session. So we have our college meeting there, and we use it to very intensive contacts with our members of the European Parliament. So I was always in close contact when they started to draft this resolution. I think it's good that the Parliament is, so to say, pushing things and so to say looking after additional ideas. But once again, my task as so to say representative of the executive leg is to use what is already there, what is available, and which is in most of the cases only at the paper so far. And that's why my focus is to so to say to transfer things which are still on papers into reality, and this is my focus. And I think before this isn't done, we shouldn't enter into the next stage. Again, maybe it's not so to say great for everybody, because I know sometimes politicians like to have great visions. This is good, but it's also important, at least occasionally, to translate visions into some realities. And this is my understanding of politics. On so to say the idea customs union and so on, I think this is more or less to a high degree already encaptured by the DCFTA. I don't see, so to say, the additional added value, but I'm not so to say an expert on that, but I have asked experts in the Commission, because this idea is not a new one, but so to say on our side we don't see, so to say, the particular benefit. But once again, there's always room for, so to say, first of all, it's good if people have ideas, but then we have to check it about so to say the concrete impacts. The same applies for energy, digital, etc. That's why I have said to participate in a common European energy market, to participate in a common European digital market should be an aim, because this is, so to say, contributing to create stronger ties. On Moldova, I don't see a crisis, but what one has to understand, we provide a lot of money, and it's not, so to say, without costs and without getting something in return. And so to say, our contribution should be seen as an investment, and investment always means that you get something in return. We are not asking to get money in return, but to get stability, democratic development, so to say, better administration, everything which is contributed to improve living conditions for people, and also to make a country more attractive for foreign investors. And then we agree, and this is again very important to stress, we always agree with our partners about conditions, you can call it incentives. It's not something which is, so to say, only on our side imposed, but it's agreed with our partners. They agree that they will deliver on something because we would also deliver on something. And this deal can only happen if both parties sticking to their so to say commitments, and if one side is not so to say delivering, it's obvious that the other side is also not delivering. And I wouldn't talk about a crisis, but I ask you to understand that if in a certain area nothing is delivered, we cannot pay something, and this is particular referring to the justice sector. There we have agreed about certain reform measures in the years, I think 2014, 2015. Honestly, nothing has happened, so we cannot pay, because we have also to justify to our taxpayers how we have spent the money. But I can tell you, and I will see the Prime Minister of Moldova today, we are not only on good terms, we have a very constructive cooperation, and we are very much committed to support the country. But of course, we are not backing a particular government. We are trying to help a country, its citizens, to improve. So our support should never be seen as backing a government. Our support should always be seen to improve living conditions of citizens. On the aviation agreement for Azerbaijan and Armenia, which will initiate, this should definitely, so to say, enhance simply cooperation in the aviation sector. But this initially has to be translated into contractual agreements, which still has to be negotiated, but it's a first and important step towards an integration of these countries in a European aviation space. On the railway you have mentioned, look, this is in our interest. I think it's part, at least it sounds like being part of this Silk Road or Silk Railway concept, which is definitely in our interest. Any kind of improved relationship, even between far distant countries, is very much welcome. Europe is the most exposed continent in terms of international trade relations. Europe is, for more than 80 countries in the world, the number one trading partner. Only in comparison, the US are only the most important trading partner for around 20 countries. Most of them are in the Caribbean area. So this demonstrates the strong interconnection of Europe, and therefore we are interested in any kind of improved infrastructure. And by the way, and this leads me to your second question, we have in the Western Balkans currently a very successful project which has been started 4 years ago to improve relationship between countries in a region, to contribute to reconciliation by working on projects where we connect 2 countries, 3 countries, a region. And therefore I think every kind of intensified connection in the different areas can and will definitely contribute to improve the relationship between countries and hopefully to overcome current conflicts. And this leads me concretely to your question. We are, I mean, this summit is not, so to say, aiming to address bilateral issues. This has to be done in other formats, and therefore the Union is very much supporting the work of the Minsk co-chairs, and I think also the fact that the 2 presidents, the 2 foreign ministers recently met in Geneva is a positive sign, and everything which is related to it is supported. Azerbaijan economic, so to say, development, or so to say, what are the next steps? Like in many countries of the region, and this is, so to say, a legacy of the past, many of these countries are very much focused on a very narrow economic or business sector. So if I look at Azerbaijan, and this is exactly what we are discussing with the colleagues there, it's definitely important to extend the scope of business activities in the country, not to be only depending on oil and gas. In other countries, it's more, so to say, to develop the agricultural sector in terms of not only producing the materials but also having, so to say, food processing. And in Azerbaijan, of course, we will also reach out to the rural sector to strengthen the rural sector. And this can only be successful if we provide, and again, this is not only something for Azerbaijan, so to say, everything which is related to education, to qualification, vocational training, things like that. And there is, as you know, a new agreement with Azerbaijan under negotiations, and I hope we can conclude negotiations next year.
Thank you. We have time for